This regular meeting of Southwest Licking Local School District to order. It is 7:00 p.m. on August 18th, and we are in the Board of Education meeting room. I would like to recognize the visitors in the room, as well as anyone watching online. If you could please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Jones, could you please take roll?
Mrs. Engel. Mrs. Moore.
Here.
Mr. Vincent.
Here.
Mr. Ziny.
Here.
Mrs. Spindler.
Here. Do we have any blue cards, Brittany? No. Okay. And it looks like a motion to adopt the agenda. So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Mr. Jones?
Mrs. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Vincent.
Yes.
Mr. Ziny.
Yes.
Mrs. Spindler.
Yes. Item 2, request to speak on agenda items, Teamsters, Southwest Licking Education Association? Okay. Item 3, approval of minutes.
I motion approval 3A and 3B. Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Jones?
Mr. Vincent.
Yes.
Mr. Ziny.
Yes.
Mrs. Moore.
Yes.
Mrs. Spindler.
Yes. Item 4, financial report.
Motion approval.
Second. Discussion?
Just real quick, we're starting a new fiscal year, so it's not a whole lot of information. The one thing I did want to point out is we did receive our first income tax settlement, and it came in at about $631,000 higher than last year, about 25% higher. So the last 2 quarters settlements have been a lot higher than we expected, which is a good thing.
Right.
But I'm not really ready to adjust the estimate. There's still potential for, problems in 2023 with the economy and so forth. But it is a good sign. That's a lot higher, and that's probably the highest one we've ever received. And this is the highest one we get every year. So it was definitely a nice surprise how much more we got. And it was across the board between, withholdings, estimated payments, and tax turns. All of it was up. So.
Remind me again, how much the last fiscal year, how much did we bank per se?
Profit?
Yeah.
We ended up being a little over $3 million higher than we anticipated.
Okay, that's what I was
So we're running better.
getting at. Thank you.
So, answer any questions you have. Again, just not a whole lot of information right now, just working on budget.
I saw OSBA invited me to a session to talk about the budget, and I guess they're in talks now. I don't know whether that's to our advantage to go something like that or not, but I was supposed to invite our treasurer and superintendent and all that stuff, but it might be interesting to go to and listen to what they're proposing,
I agree. Because we've got new school
agree,
funding form that's in place now. It doesn't mean it will next biennium. So.
Right.
Yeah.
They said they're starting discussion real quickly.
Yes.
In 2023 for that, so.
When is that, Roger? Do you know?
It's the next couple of days.
Oh, okay.
I think I can look it up here and see, but
I think I got an email too, but I'll have to go
Was that the
back.
Kim Miller-Smith?
That's
Kim-
the email I got.
Yeah,
but
that's what I
haven't
got
read it yet. Is that related to this?
legislative update, Central Region, August the 23rd.
Is it a Zoom or in person?
No, it's in person. Join us for the Central Region Legislative Open House. OSBA lobbyist Nicole Piscatani will discuss lame duck issues and address what board members, treasurers, and superintendents can do now to prepare for state budget discussion that will start in early 2023. bring your superintendent, treasurer, or board colleagues. So,
Have we, I don't know if this is an appropriate question to ask. I know that we received the money from the state for SRO. Is that for security?
All the
Oh, the grant?
$50,000.
Yeah. Do we know what we're doing with that
I'm
yet?
not sure if we've completely, Tanya
So
can.
when we applied for it, it was initially for anything new within a new school building within 5 years, or to reimburse for something done in the past 12 months. So we had applied for it to reimburse for some of the blue light poles
Okay.
that we had put out, but we had a whole list of things. We haven't really talked through what exactly that was
Okay.
going to reimburse for or be used for.
And along those lines, are we applying then for round 2 as well?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Jones? Mr. Jones?
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Zani,
yes,
Mrs. Spindler.
Yes. Item five,
Five
personnel.
and 6 could come together if you want to. We originally had to separate because of Mrs. Engel, but since she's not here,
Okay.
if you wanted to, it's up to you as a board.
5 and 6 personnel consent calendar.
A motion approval 5A through J and 6A and B.
I can second that. Anything to point out, Dr. Perkins?
There's nothing substantial this time on the agenda.
Okay. Any discussion? Mr. Jones?
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Spindler,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Mr. Zani.
yes.
Item 7, business items. A, B.
You're welcome to take all these at one time if you want to, or
Okay.
separate, it's up to you.
Motion approval 7A through E.
Second.
Any discussion?
Oh, you want me to go?
Yeah.
So A are the 4 policies we had on last month. Nothing, they're pretty just, disposal of property. We address a little bit of the dress code, the career advisement, and then the school board association liaison. So I don't think there's anything significant in those 4. If you recall, we had a conversation about the high school yearbook and the lack of funds. So at this time, Mr. Jones and I feel like we're in a good enough place financially to go ahead and switch those, and not just the high school, but middle school and elementary, to all come out of the general funds instead of the principal budget. So we shouldn't have that issue in the future, and that's something, if we ever had to revisit, if we got into a financial situation, we could definitely reconsider, but at this time, it's not necessary to take that out of the principal's funds. C, resolution of impracticality. This is for our transportation for students that attend elsewhere that we've deemed it's impractical to transport. So they'll be offered money in lieu of transportation if they choose to accept that. We have a Eagles Wings prepayment plan. I don't know if you have any questions on that for 6 kids. Mr. Davis can definitely comment. And then, Rick, do you want to talk about the tax
Yeah, this is the
abatement?
abatements, Red Rock. Again, this is going in at Pataska Corporate Park. From what I can tell, it's split between us and Licking Heights. I don't know the exact split. Again, they met all the requirements of the MOU. We're getting a 12% payment in lieu of. We'll get 50% of the income tax earned over those projects, and then $10,000 towards our legal fees. So it met all the requirements of the MOU with the city of Pataska.
All right.
Anything else? Mr. Jones?
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Mr. Zani,
Yes.
Mrs. Spindler.
Yes. Item 8, treasurer's items.
Motion approval 8A.
Second.
With
thank
thanks.
Yes.
Thank you for the AG.
Yes. Thank you, SLEA.
Mr. Jones?
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Zani,
Yes.
Mrs. Spindler.
Yes. Item 9, superintendent's items.
Okay, I have a couple things to share. First, it's Street Fair Week, so definitely want to invite all our community friends as well as the board to come visit our street fair booth. We'll be working there in the evenings right across from the boosters tent. So play some bingo, come on across, visit us. Then I want to talk to you about a little bit about the first week. So we obviously, first 3 days. Tomorrow will be the first full day with everybody in the district because the elementary have had their split days. So we've had a pretty good first couple of days. Obviously, transportation is always some of our hiccups. So we're working through some of those things and communicating with some of our families that some stops may be shifting on Monday if you're hearing anything about that. So they should have been notified by now. But overall, it's been a really good beginning. The district team has been out at all the buildings in the morning and after school, just kind of making sure things are going well and working with the principals and teachers. So that's been positive. I had planned on giving you an enrollment update, but enrollment is the withdrawals are coming in pretty quickly and the enrollment's coming in pretty quickly. So I'm going to let the dust settle a little bit and then I'll come back in September and see where we're at. We're still definitely, our kindergarten class is still under what was originally predicted, but we're tight in numbers in some of our elementary classrooms, some of the growth. And we've had a lot of enrollment at the middle school. We had a lot of withdrawals at the middle school, so we'll see how that all kind of shakes out once I think not everyone, but the majority are done enrolling in the beginning of the school year. So then I'll come back with that. Let's see. If you have a chance, when time permits, I would definitely encourage you, if you're out and about the buildings, just to check a couple of things out. We did some playground work at Etna this year in the back. And so a little bit of work will be continued. We're going to be adding a sidewalk on the side with the kindergarten classrooms out to the playground for those kids, so when it rains or is muddy. But just a little TLC to the older playground equipment. We still obviously have the new, some removal of some other equipment that need to be moved. We're fixing up the baseball diamond back there, so hopefully it can now be used. So I think it's starting to look really nice behind there.
Awesome.
Did you want to say
No, I
something?
said awesome. That's
Yeah,
great.
it looks really good, and we're not quite done, but it's almost done. Obviously, the athletic fields, if you've driven by them, they're coming right along. So that is really exciting. And then I think just in general, the makeup of the outside of the middle school and the new bus loop and just how it looks, it's going to be really nice when we can get our kids and our staff actually in the building in October. And then tomorrow night, first home football game. So hopefully most of you will be able to make that. So that is exciting. And lastly, I just don't want you to get too excited about these short meetings. Next month we have some presentations, and all good things must come to an end. And the library will be here. We met kind of with building grounds. Now we're going to go ahead and start the conversations with the whole board, talking about a little bit of that potential for a shared partnership of them utilizing some of our middle school space. And before we get too far gone, we want to make sure the board has an opportunity to ask them and questions and address any concerns. So they'll be coming to you guys next month with the presentation. And that's it for me.
Perfect.
Any questions?
One question.
Yeah, please.
Playground equipment question.
Okay.
Someone has asked me, and I think I knew the answer, but I want to just double check. When the Kirk students are temporarily housed in the current middle school, we will be providing something for them.
Yeah, it won't be permanent. We're not going to put any
Right.
swings, but yes, they will have playground equipment.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I
think,
thought.
Tanya, you've been working on that, Brad, right? Yeah, so we're going to have stuff.
Okay.
For sure.
I thought that. I just
100%.
wanted to double check.
Yes, they will have things to play. Yes.
Perfect. Awesome.
Anything else for me? Okay, that's it.
All right, item 10. Man, I thought it was me that was making the. I'm just kidding. Teamsters, Slee. Do you have anything?
SLE has changed the name of our leadership team. We just wanted to let you guys know that a little bit. We have an executive committee, and then we have the SLE council. So the executive committee are Dr. Pollaball. We have our vice presidents. Well, president is Dr. Pollaball. Sorry. Our vice presidents are Mrs. Amy Shoup, and our other vice president is Mrs. Taylor Bloom. Treasurer, Mrs. Tiffany Schaefer. And secretary, of course, is Ms. Michelle Hamilton. And then we also have our SLE council, which is kind of going to be part of the people that help some of the teachers at the buildings themselves. So just want to let you know a little bit about the changes that are going on in our structure of our SLE community.
Perfect. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. And also, we have Mr. Bob Van Hoos speaking. Can you please approach the podium and then start with your name and address? And then you'll have 5 minutes, and Mr. Jones will let you know when you have about a minute left. That's okay. Thank you.
Anyway, good evening to you. My name is Bob Van Hoos. Address is 84 Runkle Drive here in Etna. And anyway, I got my thoughts on paper. I'd like to read to you today.
Perfect.
First of all, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for your service to the community. There's never been a more important time as this for being a school board member. You may be wondering why I am here if I have children in the school system, which I don't. But I do have grandchildren. I do have a concern for all children and for what is being taught. Our children have never been under such an attack as they have been these past few years. There has been a minority spirit out there that's after the hearts and minds of the youth that wants to brainwash them. It's been a crisis for them to deal with. Everything from mental health issues, school closings, CRT, woke, sex education classes, mask mandates, online learning, gender identity, and drug overdosing and drinking, and the list goes on. A movement that knows that if they can reach the children, then they can change the nation. That minority movement wants to change our Constitution as well as our rights as a citizen. It's a battle between what's right and wrong and good and evil. Since when are parents considered a terrorist when they teach what they feel is best for their children? Two things that we can't change when we are born and should not change. We can't change our parents, our dad, or our mom, nor can we change that our Creator made us male and female. Girls in sports should never have to compete with a boy who was born that way from birth. Neither should a school board take their time to decide which bathroom a child should go into. Our teachers are very important and should be helping them with reading, writing, history, arithmetic, and computers, which are subjects that matter in life. A number of you have children in the school system. I believe all of you do. Have you taken the time to search out the kind of books and contents that are in them in the school library? In closing, I do love all people and respect everyone's thoughts and ideas. I just don't have to be in agreement with them. It's our responsibility to do what needs to be done and is morally right. Our kids are counting on us. We can't let them down now. Be bold and courageous for our children. Remember, everyone will give an account to our Creator and what we teach our children. Thank you again for your service. My wife and I have voted for each one of you. We felt that you were truly the best candidates out there. And thank you again for serving. And thanks for using common sense on these issues and realizing that you were born for such a time as this. And I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Okay. It looks like 11, since I can't scroll for some reason, is probably adjournment.
Yep.
Okay.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Jones?
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Mr. Zani,
Yes.
Mrs. Spindler.
Yes. We are adjourned at 7:20 p.m.